Hey, thanks for stopping by and watching this video today. Today we're going to cover the topic of indie music labels versus major music labels and the disadvantages and advantages of each one. Let's get into it. This question is from Hansa's M&M Studio. What do you think about indie music label versus major record label music? Advantages and disadvantages. Which do you recommend for music artists today to get involved into? So for indie music label, I would say that it's kind of more in your control. With the indie music label, you are the one in charge of everything, and you can set whatever protocols and do things that meets your need. This only works if you know who you are as an artist, if you already know what your fan base is like, if you already know what your demographic is that your music targets, if you already know all those stats that allows you to be able to create a label so that you can then help other artists who have that type of music that you sell or that you are interested in or that you're good at. Now that's how an indie music label in my stance would benefit anybody. If I was to start a music label, an indie music label, I would have to make sure that the people who I bring on are people who I can actually relate to as far as music. If I'm a hip hop producer, most likely I would put on rappers. If I'm not really an R&B producer, then I wouldn't really work with R&B artists that much. I might bring one on if they're very talented and I could actually see that I could build with them and we actually mesh together well, and there's some chemistry, that might work. But if you're now starting out, an indie label might be a good choice to go to, but then they might not know you as an artist. They might not know, especially if you're not the one starting, if you're gonna join one, they might not know you as an artist. They might not know who your fan base is. They may not take the time actually to learn and grow with you. So I would say that it's best, well, we're just talking about the disadvantages and advantages, so I'm not even gonna talk about my opinion on whether you should join an indie music label or not, but that's what's there. They may not know what you're all about. You would have to know what you are and bring that to the table so that therefore they could kind of start from a plateau there. It's going to, you have to make sure that they're actually professional in the way that they carry out the music deals. Being an indie music label, maybe they don't get as much hype, maybe they're not as coordinated, maybe they have some loopholes that haven't been fixed as yet, so you have to look into that. You have to protect yourself as an artist, so you have to know the business to make sure you don't get trapped. For indie music labels, you have to make sure that you know what they're about and make sure that both you, your brand, and the independent music label would mesh together and that you can benefit each other. If not, then it's not gonna. So major record label, what I would say about this, I'll just put, just as I did with the indie music label, I'll put all the disadvantages and advantages together. For a major music label, you have to realize they already know what works. They know what sells. They know what gets downloads and plays and views. So it may look like the best option up front. Now, depending on who you sign up with, you gotta remember, you gotta look at their history. Make sure that they actually pay out artists for their music. Make sure that they have other artists who are actually developing and growing with that label. If they're not growing and they've been there for 2 years and they haven't put out an album or anything like that, then it's not the best place to be. Make sure that they care for you as an artist. If they don't care for you as an artist, then it's not going to make any sense. Major record labels sometimes may want to make you change to what is hot right now instead of building on what you have, because they see dollar bills when they see you. They're not seeing actual talent. They may see a face. So sometimes they will maybe help you develop vocally. Maybe they may help you do tours and things like that, or barely even that. They might just want you to work on an album, and then even for the album, they're gonna want you to write certain types of album. You can make 100 tracks, and they only choose 10 out of that, and it doesn't really show exactly who you are as an artist. They just play or choose what is radio ready, or that sounds good for radio. So you have to look at that. That's kind of a disadvantage, because as an artist, especially an independent artist, well, no longer independent if you join a music label, but if you think about it this way, as an artist, I would want people to know who I am through my music. I don't want them to get a false idea of one track out of, compared to the hundreds that I have in my inventory, which I can't show to you because the music label doesn't think that it's radio ready, or it's not something that's going to bring them revenue. So if you don't join a music label and you don't join an indie label, you could put out whatever music you want yourself online, and then you could build your brand that way. So both sides have their own advantages and disadvantages. Major music labels, they'll probably be a little bit more professional than an indie record label. A major music label will have a bit more of a fan base, or they would have a bit more artists that they work with and kind of know the game a bit more. An indie record label may not have that experience as yet, but you joining them, you may be able to grow with them to that plateau where they are getting big and that they're growing after a year, after 2 years, who knows, whatever the span of time may be. But at least you'll be able to see the growth, especially if they take care of you well. A major record labels, they sometimes they don't pay their artists well. Sometimes the cuts are crazy, and sometimes artists, they never actually look at what happens after that first payment that they give. They give you this big lump sum in the beginning, but a lot of times artists don't look at the actual protocols that follow after. So you have to ask, okay, if I record any tracks, or if I record in the studio, who pays for that? Is that the record label? Does that come out of my earnings when albums are sold or CDs are sold or whatever? How many tours are they going to be interested in getting me on? If they're not interested in getting me on any tours, how do I go about doing that myself? Do they support me in any way? You got to ask about 360 deals. You don't want to do 360 deals. As far as I know, 360 deals are where they get a cut out of everything you do. So you got to look at all these things and learn what the business actually tells you about music. The music business is it's a niche type of thing, but it has a lot of elements to it, and you need to look that up. The more that you know, the better you can protect yourself or prepare yourself. Myself, I worked with 1 or 2 independent music labels providing instrumentals to them, and I made sure that the deal was non-exclusive, which means that I can come out of the deal at any time, or I could stop working with them at any time. I'm not locked into a contract. I'm not locked into working with them for a couple of tracks or a year. I could, if they need 6 tracks, then they come and order 6 beats from me, and that's it. If they want more, they come to me and order from me, and that's how the deal was. We have a set price that we agreed upon, and that was it. So I wasn't controlled by the label. I still had control of my music. I could still sell my music elsewhere. I could still go on YouTube. I could still go on Facebook. I could still go on Twitter. I could go on SoundCloud, SoundGen, or whatever, and sell my music. So when you join a music label, most times, whether it's indie or major, they may have a clause that say that any music that you put out has to be approved by the record label, or that you can't put out any music that's not actually gonna gain revenue for the major label or yourself, and they don't want you to share that. So these are the things you have to think about when considering joining any type of label. These are the disadvantages and advantages. They both have their different sides to the coin there, and you definitely have to learn more and you have to grow. Alright, I hope this video helped you out. If it has, be sure to comment below and let me know if you have any more questions, or if you would like me to answer any other questions like this. If you think you have a friend who needs to see this video, be sure to share it with them. So as you know, this is Legendary Beats from legendarybeatsonline.com. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you would like to hear more videos like this and more content like this. Alright, so you already know what my motto is: be you, be legendary. And my new motto, or my new name for music artists who are trying to develop themselves, music hackers. Alright, you guys enjoy, have a nice day. I'm out.